You're on.
Okay, so now that you're all promptly asleep, let's wake you up again and talk about using a smart mirror. We have a guest speaker, Craig Wright. He is the communications director with the Columbus Computer Society, and he did this presentation once before. He's also potentially going to do it with APCUG. So we're kind of practice for him, but he's done it once, so we get second. Should be better. So go ahead, Craig.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Hello.
Good
I'm
afternoon.
Hi, Craig. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm joining you from the Grand Canyon.
Oh my gosh, it's pretty out there.
In reality, I'm sitting in my office in the bedroom in my house. So first of all, it's called the Magic Mirror. And let me show you a picture of it. I'll share this picture. I gotta find the share button. There it is.
Right down, it should be down the middle of your screen there.
Yes, got it. So do you see the picture? Yes, you
See
should.
the
Yes,
picture.
sir.
Okay, so this is what this is there's a piece of two-way mirror glass, and behind it is a computer monitor in the center at the top. And where the monitor is not is actually just a piece of thin plywood that's been painted black. So the mirror, as you can see at the bottom where there's that photograph of Venice in there, that actually makes a pretty good mirror. And at the top, you can see wear your mask when you're in public, and some calendar information on the left and weather on the right. It looks a little different than that now because the colors are a little different, but it's basically the same thing. So the wood is just some scrap wood. There's some poplar in the back because it has to be about 3 inches thick to accommodate the monitor that's behind it. And it runs on a Raspberry Pi. So let me stop sharing for a second.
Okay.
So does everybody know what a Raspberry Pi is, and not the kind you eat?
Yes.
Yep, little
Let
bit.
me,
Raspberry Pi is,
Craig,
yeah,
I just want to point out something so you guys can have a better experience. Depending on your view on Zoom, you can pin a video, and I would
Well.
recommend pinning the video of Craig. So the way you do that is if you are in speaker view, there's a button in the top, well, I think this is right for you guys. It's mirrored on my side. Top right corner, it'll say speaker view, or it'll have a grid, or it'll say gallery view. There's 3 options because there's multiple platforms. If you click that button, what you ultimately want to get into the view you want is to see like the Brady Bunch view with everybody over each other. So once you see that, just keep clicking until you get it. If you hover over Craig Wright, you'll see ... and then you'll see, once you click that, an option to pin the video. That's what you want to do. Otherwise, if someone says something, you'll see them and you won't see anything he's showing. Should make Craig full screen. Sorry to interrupt.
I don't think they want to break their monitors by doing that, but it's okay. So a Raspberry Pi, let me get it here in front of me, is just a little single board computer. There is cheap. There's one smaller than this that are actually $5. These run about $35 or up, depending on which model you get. The one I'm using in the mirror is actually a $35 Raspberry Pi 3. So it's been out for a couple of years. And the wood behind it, where's my picture? Here it is. Just a second. I have to click share again. The mirror behind, or the frame behind it, is just some wood that holds the monitor in place, and so it doesn't fall out because it's a little heavier. The glass is probably one of the most expensive parts. It was $170, I think, just for the piece of glass. There are cheaper alternatives, but this one gives you the best view. Monitors, if you have an old one or an old one, they can cost you almost nothing, but it goes up from there. The core to the whole thing is the software that runs on the Magic Mirror. So once you get your operating system installed, then you go to this website, magicmirror.builders, and download the software, and there's instructions on here on how to do it. So we'll play this video. It's 35 seconds, so hopefully it won't put you to sleep. There, now you know all about it. No, basically, there's lots of different modules that you can put in there, and the different modules, you can configure where you want to display them on the monitor, how you want, colors and what you want displayed, et cetera, et cetera. So earlier today, I actually did a little video of my Magic Mirror while it was running, so you could see it. And let me share that briefly, and then we'll talk about how it works. So here's the Magic Mirror, and I'm standing in front of it with my phone. And you can see it just has the time in the upper left, and calendar information below it. In the center at the top is a picture from NASA that happens to be a picture of Jupiter. And then you have weather information in the upper right. Below that, it's telling you that your puppy loves you. Those are just random sayings. And then news items down in the bottom of the monitor. So any questions so far?
I muted everyone, so please unmute yourself to speak.
What's the purpose of this? I am still confused as to why we're getting this presentation.
The purpose of this is to have a mirror, and most of the time that's what it will be. It's just a mirror hanging on the wall somewhere. But what it also does is while you're combing your hair, you can see what the weather is going to be like or what the news of the day is without having to turn on your TV or look at your phone or anything like that. It's just give you a little bit of extra fun in your life. Okay. And it's a way to spend money too.
No, thank you. I'll go have a drink.
Well, that too.
Will it bring me a Mai Tai?
All I have with me right now is some water. I'd have to go down to the kitchen to get something stronger. Okay.
Okay.
Screen has stopped sharing because I killed that app. So let me actually open this other window up here. Let me log into that Raspberry Pi real quick. Once you download and install the mirror, you can then download and install any optional modules that you want. And here's a brief list. There's ones about just stuff about the Magic Mirror itself, financial information, news, religion, other information, travel, voice control, weather, sports. So if you're into sports, here's a bunch of things that you can see, like when college football starts in the fall, if it starts. You can go in here and you can see information about, and this is just a sample screen capture of the top 25 teams in college football, and what their record is and what their ranking is, and it's whether they've changed from last week or whatever. So you can add that, and then when college football season is over, you can remove it. And you don't actually have to remove it. You can just disable it and put basketball scores up there instead, if that's your thing. They have Olympics, soccer, NHL, NFL. I don't see baseball on there anywhere. And so with weather, there's lots of choices for weather, different parts of the world. Some are just like, am I going to need an umbrella today or not? So that sort of thing. Shows weather information for the 24 hours using the Dark Sky, which is a website where you can get mail. So lots of choices there. Pollen data in Germany, if you happen to be living in Germany or planning on going to Germany. There's text to speech, so you can have your mirror talk to you, or you can talk to it. There's ones there to say, hey, magic mirror, who's the fairest of them all, and that sort of thing. Once you've installed all the apps you want on your mirror, then you have to configure it, which is actually a pretty easy thing, but might be a little intimidating if you aren't careful. So let me stop sharing that window. And share this one. So now this is just a command line window talking to the computer that the mirror is running on. And that mirror is just 6 feet from me because we have to do social distancing. So there's a file called config.js. That's the file you need to modify to change the configuration of the monitor, of the window, of the mirror. So there's some general stuff. And for like the calendar, which is in the upper left corner, I have it getting several calendar information that this data originally came from my calendars application on my Mac, but I've exported that data and put it on the mirror, and then I can display it so you can tell it things like how you want the time and date displayed, how often it's going, so it'll update the contents every 5 minutes. So it'll look for changes in the mirror that often. Then I have this compliments application, and so it has like, you know, your cat loves you, your puppy loves you, go Bucks, buy low, sell high, watch every episode of The Big Bang Theory. And if it's raining, it will actually remind me to make sure I take my umbrella. Some current weather information, and you have this little code. You go to this website and look up what city, and it'll give you the code that you put in so that it knows where to get your, what location you want the weather for. The news feed, you give it URLs of various web services or web-based services that you'd like to check for mail. So it's the BBC, the Columbus Dispatch, New York Times, CNN, and of course you could add others like Fox News or whatever. And if a news article is more than 14 days old, it'll ignore it. And it will update the news article at the bottom of the screen every 10 seconds. You can change that just by changing this number. And it will actually reload data from those web services every 5 minutes. Like this Hello Mirror, that one is currently disabled, so that one doesn't show up. So this network connection one here, if I enabled that, it would tell me that my Magic Mirror, its Wi-Fi connection to the network is good or not good. Oops. So that's sort of the stuff that you might want to see. So just as I'm going to modify the file, and I'll turn on that network connection one right here. So I've turned that on, and I'm going to unshare. And I have my phone. It's also, let's turn on video here. Oops, there's one other thing I need to do. Because I don't want to wait the 5 minutes. What I'm going to do is restart the mirror. By entering a command PM2 restart MM. Come on, there you go. Stop sharing.
If you have Craig's video pinned, you'll want to pin a new one. What is it, CJW?
Yes. Come on, there we go. So now you can see that right down here in the bottom, right below the puppy loves you, it says internet is connected, etc. So it'll display that until I turn it back off. And since it pretty much never changes, I don't usually have that displayed. Questions so far?
This is coded in what
Craig,
language?
so the only limit,
Most of it's written in Python. I didn't write any of this code. It's just stuff I downloaded and configured it so that it will, it seems to work pretty well without me messing with it.
Sheila, you had a question?
so the only limitation you have, Craig, is the size of the monitor you use,
Yes.
size-wise?
Yes. So I'm using a 24-inch widescreen monitor that I bought at the Micro Center for $120 or whatever it was. Actually, it's a little less than that. That monitor might have been $90
Okay.
because they were on sale. This was back in the fall when I bought that monitor. And yeah, if you want, there's a company up near Toledo that actually is where I bought the glass. They actually will pre-build a magic mirror for you using a Raspberry Pi, and you say, I want a mirror this big or a mirror that big. They'll actually use a monitor that's about the same size as the glass. And they start at $900. I built mine for $300. The glass, the monitor, those are the two expensive things. Wood doesn't take a lot, maybe less than $10 in wood. In a Raspberry Pi, the SD card power supply is another $50 or $60. And you're up and running, and a little bit of time. The actual work to cut all this out and get it glued up was 3 hours maybe. Plus I had to wait for the paint to dry because inside the mirror there is some paint to cover that piece of plywood so you don't see it when the monitor isn't on or whatever. But other than that, it didn't take a lot of time to get it up and running.
Very interesting. Thanks for sharing.
No problem. Now, Ken, you've seen this presentation before. Is there anything I'm forgetting that I did last time?
Well, I put in chat a bunch of information for you guys. If you start at the top, it's the Magic Mirror software, and then Craig talked about the modules, so there's a link to that. But what he hasn't talked about yet is he has a website where he talks about the Raspberry Pi, and he has a very, very well done configuration document for the Raspberry Pi. It automates a lot of the setup. So if you go to chat, you can see all those links there, and you can also save chat. Chat is at the bottom of your screen. If you move your mouse over Zoom, you'll see a bunch of buttons appear at the bottom. That's where you find the mute, unmute, stop your video, start your video, but chat's right in the middle, at least it should be. If you're on a tablet, it'll be in a different location, but on a computer, if you open up chat, you should be able to see a ... where you can save the chat, and if you can't, let me know, I'll email it to you.
So what you see now, this is the website, twowaymirrors.com, and they're up just outside of Toledo. And this is where I actually bought the glass. And you can get glass, acrylic, film, et cetera, et cetera. There's different ways to get it, but the glass gives you the best quality of the mirror and the best quality for the glass itself. So the two-way mirror, if you go to That's an acrylic, but if you go to glass and pricing, so if I pick a, this is, let's see here. It was 18 by 24 was the size of the glass. And that's $177 just for the glass. And it's only an eighth of an inch thick. It's not tempered because it's not big enough to require that. And they just sand the edges so you don't cut yourself on it. And they'll ship it to you, or you can drive to Toledo and pick it up, which is what I did. I didn't trust that it wouldn't get broken on the way, but they had it boxed very well. They had, in fact, I still have it.
Hey, Craig,
Yeah,
why couldn't you just go to a regular glass cutter that has 8-inch
Because it-
glass?
well, if they have two-way mirror glass, you could do that, but a lot of places don't carry it.
Okay, that's what I needed to know.
So when I bought it and went up to pick it up, they wrapped it, and this is all rolled up, but this is a very large, long roll of bubble wrap. And they had it wrapped around that glass in both directions. So it was probably about 3.5, 4 inches thick on every side of the glass and on the edges. And then they had it in a box. So needless to say, it wasn't likely to get broken. You probably could have dropped it and it wouldn't have had problems. So the two-way mirror glass here, oops, because I didn't click share yet, is one of the options for buying glass. And if you go to the Magic Mirror site, and you, so here's a piece of glass, it's a little thicker because this has touch screen on it, a wooden frame and the monitor behind it. If you're interested in similar projects, they tell you how to do that. Somewhere in here, they documented where you could buy glass in many parts of the country. Those are just discussions about it. So Kenneth had talked about the website that I have where it has information about the web, or about setting up a Raspberry Pi. So if you go to craig-wright.us and you click on Raspberry Pi, there's a little bit about the Pi itself. And then here's getting started. Download a copy of this document, click this link. I happen to already have a copy. And I will bring that up so you can see it. And what you can download is a PDF version of the file. Hold on just a second. Let me view this as something that's a little more manageable. Share. So do you see This is a Word, and I'm showing you the front cover, front page of the document. And then there's a table of contents, and it goes into very detailed description of how to do the various things. Like, these are a table of the various models of Raspberry Pi that have come and gone. Some are still there, but it goes on about do this, do that. And so if I just go down here and pick something, like if I want to set the time zone, it tells you how to do that, and set up a keyboard if you're using one, etc. And I added a little glossary of terms down at the bottom. So we all know what a byte is, but do you know what a nibble is? Anybody know what a nibble is? It's half a byte, 4 bits. And then I didn't know this till I was researching this a couple of days ago. Half of a nibble is called a crumb, 2 bits. So it defines, like, what decimal is, what octal is, what hexadecimal is, what binary is, what a file system is. Various, the IP addresses, what an IPv4 address looks like, an IPv6 address. Talked a little bit about Java, because that's what I've programmed in for many years, what Linux is, what a Raspberry Pi is. So there's lots of little short descriptions of various words that some I use in the document, some are more of general knowledge that you may or may not be interested to know what that word means. And if somebody finds a word that they think really should be added to the list, you can let me know and I'll put it in there. There's something called the MOTD, the message of the day. Is that sort of what you had in mind, Kenneth, to talk about a little bit?
Yep.
And of course, this stuff at the end you haven't seen before, because I just uploaded that version early this morning, like at 3 in the morning, because I was still up. I said, I can't go to sleep till I'm done doing this part of it. And then I would go along and I'd say, oh, wait, I got to add another word. Finally, I had to say, I got to stop adding words and get some sleep. So that's what you have. I personally have 11 Raspberry Pis that are running. Every one of them has a job. I have a couple of spares. I have one in a case, and then one that's not in a case, that are spares. And I have one that's not in a case. It's just bolted to my garage wall next to the garage door. And it monitors the door, so it'll send me either text messages, email, or notifications that the door is still open or the door just closed or whatever. So kind of fun little stuff there. Questions? It's very quiet. It's very unnerving when there's nobody saying anything.
If you're trying to say something, you're muted, so please unmute yourself.
I can mute myself now if you'd like.
So, Craig, you're using your Raspberry Pis as monitoring items,
Some of them,
various things.
That website that I showed you is actually running on one of my Raspberry Pis. It's actually on the desk behind me. I actually have 2 copies of the website. I have a primary and a secondary And I have a proxy server set up that will actually send traffic to both of those, sort of like, so I have a backup in case one crashes. That is not working right now because I'm still having some problems getting the SSL stuff, the security certificate set up. But once that's done, then the proxy server will be back online. I have one that, of course, the mirror. I have one that's just a desktop computer. And of course, remember, it's the boards are the size of a credit card. And it's in a little case, so it's maybe 1.5 inches thick. And that is sitting on my kitchen table. And there's a monitor and a mouse and a keyboard there. So while I'm eating my breakfast, I can sit there, because you got to read something while you're eating breakfast. And I've already read the cereal box. I probably read the cereal box 100 times when I was in high school, waiting to, eating. So you got to read something. And you read it last week, but you're going to read it again in case it's something different. It's the same box, not even a new box of cereal. So now you spend time watching, YouTube videos or reading news articles or whatever.
Or you're busy on Zoom.
Or I'm busy on Zoom. And I've spent quite a bit of time on Zoom recently, as Mr. Tuba is aware of. Playing with my magic mirror, tweaking it. Like I changed a couple of color settings in it yesterday or the day before. They have all kinds of, and of course, you can write your own modules to put on the mirror to do whatever you want. One I thought about writing, and I'm not sure it's going to be worth the hassle, is to write one to tell me when trash collection day is in Columbus for me. Because they do things weird here. So they give everybody a color that's 4 letters long, and it's 645, and then whatever that color is, so you can call and find out when your trash day is. But every time there's a holiday that the city of Columbus celebrates, your trash day shifts forward one day, and it stays that way until the next holiday. Like many cities, they'll go back to the previous setting the next week. They'll just make up for it on Saturday. Columbus doesn't want to pay the overtime, so right now my day is Thursday, but come Labor Day or come 4th of July, it will become Friday. Labor Day, it'll become Monday. So I'll have trash day the Friday before Labor Day, and then I won't have trash that whole next week until the Monday after Labor Day before they pick it up again. And so they've done that for years. Recycling, though, is always every other Wednesday, and that they keep that on track. So it's something that's confusing for people who haven't lived in Columbus for very long.
I wanted to point out if you saved chat, go ahead and resave it again. I added a few more links to YouTube videos on how to configure and tutorials on the smart mirror you might want. Sorry, go ahead, Ira.
Yeah. When you're saying save chat, I was on chat. I didn't see 3 little dots up there on chat to save it. So how do I save it?
You should
I
see.
bring chat up.
Yep, bring chat up. You should
Very
see.
faint.
It says share, close. Okay.
So down at the bottom underneath the chat window, you should see a button that says File. And right beside that
Chat,
button,
I got.
and right below right to the right of where it says File is a little button with 3 periods on it. Click
Okay,
that.
I'm in chat. Wait a minute now. I'm in chat right now. I see what he's got on there, and I'm at the bottom of it. I don't see any 3 periods on chat unless you're in that little. You mean the 3 little dots in the chat box?
Correct. Next to file.
Next to file.
It says to everyone. And then over toward the right, it says file. And then right next
Wait
to
a minute.
that are 3 little dots. Hard to see, but there are 3 little
Yeah,
dots.
they are there.
If you click on
Okay.
that, then it
It
says
says,
save chat.
okay, wait a minute. It says Kenneth Tubal to everyone. I see that.
Down at the bottom of that window.
Yes, I see that, but my eyes are so, but, okay. It says type a message here.
Right above
Above
that,
that.
to the right, you'll
To the
see
right,
a little
right.
button that says file.
Boy, I wish I did. I don't have a button here at all.
Not a button, it's just it looks like a file and it says the word file. And then to the
No.
right of that are 3 little dots.
No, I don't have a file. I've got to everyone, type a message.
Above
and what I
type,
see left-
Hey,
yeah,
hold on a
to
second. Ira's on Linux. So,
Ah.
Mr. Bixler, is it different? Are you running Linux on this meeting?
I'm not on Linux.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm on Linux. You're right. I'm on Linux. I'm on Linux. Stop.
You on
Man.
Windows?
No, Linux. See, I
Ken
don't have that
Bixler?
on.
Are you still there, Ken?
Yes, we're on Linux. I'm sorry, is my audio working?
Yes.
Yep, okay. So we're on Linux. At the bottom of the screen, all we have is to everyone and type message here. I can't find what you're speaking of either, but
He
if
has
you
the
click
penguin
anywhere
sign.
in
Well, thank you,
chat,
Ken. That brings, I know I'm not crazy then.
yeah, if you click anywhere in chat and hit Control A and then Control
Click
C,
anywhere in chat.
yeah, click
minute.
anywhere in chat.
Okay, click anywhere in chat. Left click.
Yep.
Okay, I did. Control C.
A. No,
Control
Control
A.
A.
I got it. Then
Control
what do
C.
you do?
Control C.
And then Control C. That's copy. I did that.
Open a LibreOffice document and paste it in there.
Okay, wait a minute now. How am I going to get to LibreOffice for this? I have to leave this screen. How am I going to do that?
Just click on
'Cause
LibreOffice
I don't
icon.
see. Yeah, I can't see the icon because I got full screen here, Ken.
Well, just make
exit full screen.
exit full screen so you can see.
Okay, where does it say? Okay, full screen. Where does it say full screen? Oh my gosh.
F
I
At
got
the top,
more.
Ira, up at the top, exit full screen.
Well, he's on Linux. I don't know what Linux has.
No, I'm on Linux. And if I take this screen, Cam, if I take this where I've just copied this and I push that arrow, I'm just going to shove it aside. Is that what you want me to do?
Try F11.
Okay. Okay, let me see here.
Top
No, I'm
row,
probably gonna-
right hand end of it.
That's it. Nothing.
Okay.
Okay. Let me ask you something. Oh, there it is. It did do it. Okay. And now LibreOffice, I'll get it up here. If it'll do it. Last time I was in Firefox, froze up on me. I can do nothing. Okay, and when I get to LibreOffice, just go ahead and hit the mouse top.
Control
Correct.
V or paste.
Where's LibreOffice at? Huh. Where'd it go? It's on, but I can't see it. There it is. It's slow. Slow. That's Zoom causing that. Okay. There. Let me see.
Or don't add anything else, Kenneth, because we don't want to have to do this again.
Does anybody have any questions while we're figuring out Ira?
Yeah, I've got everything except for the bottom part. When it's at the bottom, yeah, the type message here. Yep, I got it all. Yeah. Okay, I can leave that. I know where it's at. Well, I got to probably just save that. Wait a minute now. Okay, save as. Up here. Okay. And I'll put Craig.
If any of you would like me to
Okay,
email the
and
chat to
Craig.
you, just let me know. You can send my email addresses on the website, and I have a few, so I'm not exactly sure. I think it's vice.president@lccsohio.org. I'll put that in the chat. But there is a few of them on there. Or you can reply to the meeting request that I sent you as well. I've got the chat saved for anybody who needs it. Thank you,
Okay.
Craig.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Craig.
You're welcome.
That's very
I like
interesting,
your
Craig.
background there, Mr. Avast Guru.
Background
Oh.
was a sunrise taken about 3 days ago from my home. I get lucky. I don't have to go anywhere to get actual photos from somebody else's. I can just take them right from my house.
The Grand Canyon picture that's behind me, I took that when I was out there in September. So I'd never been to the Grand Canyon before. That is definitely something to see.
Yes, it is. And every time you
Craig?
go, you see something new.
Yes.
You was talking about garbage collection. My brother lives in Columbus, and he just called me last week about it. And he says, can you tell me when the Columbus Dispatch when they're going to take the garbage up next week because of the 4th of July? I said, Ronnie, I live in Newark. I don't know how that's going to happen. And he says, and I told him, I said, just call them. Well, he called them. They can't get an answer. He gets a robot, and he don't get any. So I'll have to tell him their colors, but
If he knows what his color is, and you can go
Does he
on their
know what-
website to figure that out.
He doesn't have a computer.
Oh, that's a problem.
Yes, he has no
If he
computer.
knows what his color is, though, 645 and the colors spelled out on the number keys.
Okay.
And you could always, given his address, you could go look it up and tell him what his trash date is. So if he knows what his day is now,
Right.
let's say it's Tuesday, after the 4th, it'll be Wednesday.
It'll
So just
change.
move forward a day, skipping the weekends. So if you're on
Right.
Friday, you'll move to Mondays.
Okay, I'll try to help him out best I can.
Okay.
Columbus, is that also the city that intends to change their name?
That's what some people say. I
We're
think
Yeah.
not going to do it. We're not going to do it.
Oh, they're not going to change the name. Columbus is Columbus.
And if they change it to Flavortown, I think I'll cry. Did you hear that one?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes, I've heard that. Of course, New Mexico has a town named after a game show.
Correct. Truth or
Truth or
consequences. Yep.
What's the consequences?
hmm
That's an old one now.
Yeah. Yeah, that goes back a couple of weeks.
They made lots of money by changing that name. At least that to me made sense. I don't even remember what the original name was. There aren't enough people in there for it to matter.
Well, yeah, it's not much more than a speck on the map. If you're outside of Santa Fe or Albuquerque,
Lost me again.
most of the towns are pretty small.
Any other questions before Craig goes? Remember, you're muted. Unmute yourself. We're a little over time, so let's make it quick.
Okay. Well, thanks, Craig. I enjoyed it. I'm leaving the meeting.
Thank you. Have a good afternoon.
Uh-huh.
Thanks, Craig. That was good.
You're welcome.
Okay, Everett, you tell me when you're ready to stop the recording. If I end the meeting, everything stops, and I might mess it up.
Well, go ahead and end the meeting, and I'll stop it right after you do that.
Are you sure you don't want to stop it first, just in case?
Yeah, it's better to stop the recording first and then end the meeting.
Maybe stop it and rename it first, and then I'll end the meeting.
Well, you could, okay. You could just say, we're ending the meeting. I'll stop the recording. Then you can actually end the meeting.
Yes.
Just say it. That's not gonna know what you're saying. Just don't do anything. So go ahead and say, meeting is over, and I'll stop the recording.
Okay. Well, thank you guys. I'll see you next month for password management.
Thank you, Kenneth.